All right. So now I gotta tell it to go live.
Yep.
On the Instagramage.
Yeah.
But it's not telling up.
Takes about 5 seconds and you're there. Oh, and I just got info. Oh, I see us. We are here.
How do I mute it on Instagram?
Um, I don't know. It's working. There should be a little mute button at the bottom right hand corner. I think it's fine, Jim. Let's
No,
just
I'm
go with
trying to
it.
mute it. No. I'm having feedback.
Oh, are you? Yeah, I do not.
Yeah, and we got a bunch of people coming on, but I gotta be able to mute this.
So everybody who's just logging in and checking
Yeah,
this out, we are streaming live on Instagram too. StreamYard allowed us to go Facebook pages, as well as websites, as well as Instagram now. So, and YouTube all at once. It's a handy little device, this StreamYard is. But there's one little tricky thing that you don't get feedback. You got to click the volume button. And I see my volume button on the bottom right-hand side of the video.
Yeah. In the streaming part, it's not. There's no I got no volume button.
Well, I say you just ditch it.
All right. Well, I just closed the tab, which probably means it turned it off. Is it gone?
Let me see.
I had to close the tab because I couldn't turn off the volume.
It's a little bit behind us.
Okay.
So
Well,
I'll see. Nope, it's not off. You're on, Jim.
oh, okay. Cool. Well, there you go. Okay, cool. Well, I apologize everybody for the weird delay. It's the first time we've done that, and now I know that maybe it'll stay there and maybe it won't. Susan said mute the tab. I'll figure out. I was trying to mute the tab, but maybe there's something. I'm old. I'm like over a half a century. Y'all should just be excited that I can use this technology. You know, I'm sliding into that mode where I won't even be able to use my phone here in another 12 months.
Show them what you did 28 years ago.
Okay, so I was digging through my personal archives, right? Getting ready for a training that we're going to be doing. And I found my very first info product that I ever sold successfully. Now, my very first info product ever sold was my 11th grade history notebook, which I sold for $100 to a girl who wanted it the next year. Sorry, Mrs. Altman. I needed the money. So, this is a product that I put the copyright date on here. Copyright 1996. That was my little company, DBA, TCG Financial. But this is the 10 dirty little secrets of mortgage financing. And it's funny, the cover of the thing is a sales letter. The tools you need to avoid mistakes, abuses, and ripoffs when getting a mortgage loan. Even had my bullets on there and stuff. The 7 most important questions to ask any lender, how to keep from paying tens of thousands and too much interest on your mortgage, the most powerful negotiating tool you have as a buyer, keeping Uncle Sam out of your wallet, and self-defense against junk fees and discount point ripoff artists. And look at that. A must read for everyone from the first-time buyer to the experienced investor and agent. So
you have evolved, Jim, is the reason why I say let's show everybody that, is you have evolved quite a bit.
There weren't no interwebs that I was aware of in 1996. I didn't have email or anything.
I was still in the Navy.
And, you know, it's funny, you see different patterns and things like that. But like, you know, I'm big on process maps. I'm always drawing on the board and stuff. Dig this, dude. There's a big old process for getting a mortgage. And the funny thing is we take all this stuff for granted now, but this took me weeks and weeks and weeks just to put the thing together. I had to learn how to lay the entire thing out in
Word?
Adobe. No, it was
Oh.
Adobe PageMaker.
Oh.
I mean, this was like a professional level publishing program. And so I mean, so bottom line is I had this thing printed. I went into a studio, I had it, I paid a guy to record me in his home studio, and he was a musician. And I would sell this thing for $30 a pop. And I went around and I sold this thing door to door to real estate agents, and I used it as a lead generation tool. And God, man, this brings back some serious memories. But man, I only took cash too, boy. That went in the hip National Bank. I didn't, that was it. You want a receipt? Sure, here's a receipt.
That's awesome. Hey, guess what was Windows was using back in 1996?
Windows 97.
No, Windows NT. Remember
Oh,
that one?
okay. Yeah,
Remember
that
that
was
one?
like after 3.0 or
Yeah,
whatever it was. Yeah.
3.5. Yeah, they
Yeah.
so the thing is I want people to realize is that you have to evolve. Otherwise you're stuck in the 90s.
But not just evolve, but this is a great example of do what you can with what you have, where you are with what you've got.
Yes.
Because I recorded that thing, but then I was duping it. The first version of it, I recorded on a boombox, and that was my beta version. That was what I sent out to people to get testimonials and feedback and stuff. And then I went into the studio and recorded it. And it was interesting because this was like the ebook of its day, this comb binding stuff. This was how you could publish something like you would do an ebook now, but you would go down to Kinko's, have it copied, and then I had the whole Ibico thing where you could punch those holes and then you would comb bind the stuff together. We would sit around the kitchen table, which, by the way, that was in my trailer, and I have that kitchen table from the trailer is here in the world headquarters. I that kitchen table's right there, man. I mean, you got to keep your roots. But the other thing was the reason why I made this, okay, originally was to use it as a way to get business, because this was the thing that we would advertise in the real estate magazines, and then people would call to get a free copy, and then I got a lead.
Mm.
And funny enough, one of the people that called for a copy that I ended up doing their mortgage 3 years later got divorced. And when I was a real estate agent for Century 21, I ended up selling their house for them. And it all started with that. That's
Damn.
pretty cool, man. I mean, this is, it's as legit as you want it to be. That's the other thing. So it's self-publishing. If you treat it like it's legit, other people will. If you think it's BS, then other people will too.
Yeah. Man, I love it. That's a good way to make money off your book and not be royalties.
Hey, that was my thing was always, hey, if I can leverage this thing that I've got less than a buck in to make a couple $1,000s on a commission back in 1990s money, couple $1,000 in the
Yeah,
90s was some money.
that was something.
I'll do that all day long. In fact, with this book right here, I did that 50 times in a year as a real estate agent, getting listings, leveraging that book, comb bound. So what? Okay, well that's preamble. I don't know.
Yes,
What the hell?
that's a little bit of a head start on what we're talking about.
Okay,
But I figure at the end of the year we might as well, talk about the beginning of next year and
there you go.
why it's important to try to use some of these momentous landmarks in our life to start a new habit.
Sure.
Yeah. So let's do that.
Okay.
Some people say new year, new you. You know me, Jim. I'm not a big resolution fan
Right.
because the word resolution doesn't exist in February.
True.
People are off of it. So let's figure out another word for it today.
Okay. And what does that word, Stu? I know you have some thoughts on resolutions and day one versus one day versus all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's a goal.
Okay.
Plain and simple. You set a goal, but to set a goal, you got to set some new habits. Probably even break a few bad habits
Mm-hmm.
along the way. So there you go. Goals.
Okay. Anything, any thoughts you want to share on that, or we just does that just you dropping the mic on that? Goals, habits.
Well, everything's going to evolve, right?
Okay.
So everything has to evolve. And if you really want to make it work, it's going to start off as I'm very inspired to do something,
Uh-huh.
right? And let's talk about be an author. I'm very inspired to be an author this year.
Okay.
Okay? Now, that doesn't mean anything.
Holy shit.
All
That's
right?
just oh, it's going to be one of those kind of talks. Okay.
Okay? Well, that inspiration lasts about 10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Right? And then you start thinking about all the stuff you got to do to make that happen. And you're like, oh, maybe I'm not that inspired. Right? So that inspirational moment has to
Uh-huh.
evolve.
So
Right?
what you're saying is that a resolution is an inspiration combined with alcohol on New Year's Eve. Is that what you're saying? So
Pretty much.
resolution is
Pretty
just
much.
the drunk dumpster baby of liquor and inspiration. Okay, that's cool.
That's a good way of putting it,
And
actually.
I like that.
So, anyway, that inspiration has to start giving you some energy to move towards a direction. Okay.
Okay.
So, that inspiration is good for a few days, maybe. Right? It turns into motivation. So that inspiration turns into motivation. That motivation has to turn into action.
Yeah.
And that action is going to start building habits. Okay. You got this time slot, you got this daily amount of time you're going to, you know, give to whatever action you're doing. In this case, you have that 10-15 minutes that you're going to do to start writing that book, right? Or whatever, right?
Okay.
And so then those habits are what's going to save you. Because there's going to be a day when you're not inspired, you're not motivated, you don't feel like doing anything, but you've created this habit and you do it anyway.
Right.
That is when habits evolve into discipline.
Okay.
And once you're there, now you're cooking with Crisco.
Yes, as long as the original spark and inspiration and energy are still there, because if you don't have a strong enough why with
Right.
the habit, then the habit can be washed out in a matter of a day or two.
Oh, yeah. All it takes is, yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. All right. You
Right.
start bumping it off. Yes, exactly. You definitely need a why.
So and where you run into a problem is if your why, we'll use the example of losing weight. Okay. Let's say on New Year's Eve, you get liquored up and get all inspired, and
Go
so
join a
you're like,
gym.
I'm gonna I'm gonna join a gym. All right. So I'm gonna go have to speak in front of 1,000 people, and I don't want to be a tubby tubtard. Okay. So I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna lose the weight. So you go to the gym, you get a trainer, you have appointments in your calendar, you have a deadline, you have this thing. And let's say you lose the weight. I mean, you develop the habit, I only have 3 cheeseburgers instead of 5, 2 donuts instead of 6. I do my thing, I drop the weight, I do the speech. Next day, glad that's over. I need a rest. Here's the problem.
Get
The
out of the
why
habit.
No.
Yeah.
Not out of the habit. The why disappeared.
Well, yeah.
No, I'm serious because it's
You're
happened
right.
to me before. It's the why, the big event, the big training thing. As long as you have okay, I'm going to run the half marathon. I'm going to do the big ruck. I'm going to do the go ruck thing. I'm going to do the Boston Marathon. I'm going to do the other thing. But all of a sudden, if those aren't coming along, there's nothing to there's no why anymore.
Yeah.
Now you want to have an internalized why as opposed to an externalized why, because an internalized why is a lot stronger and lasts a lot longer.
100%.
Um,
So what's the secret, Jim? What is the secret to getting ahead? It's getting started. You know who said that?
Mark Twain.
Yes. Very good. Very good.
So the secret to getting ahead is getting started. But let's talk for a second about, and again, y'all think that this is, I know that we are so freaking smooth here that you guys think this is just totally rehearsed. Like these dudes they must practice. This is so amazing what they do that they must practice this stuff for at least 2 hours before they get on. And if you thought that, you'd be absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, right. All right. But Stu and I have been doing this long enough now. We kind of, can finish each other's sentences, especially if there's a cue card. What the hell were we just talking about? Oh, getting
Mark
started.
Twain quote. Let's talk a little about how Mark Twain's quote can kind of help us relate to getting on a journey of becoming an author.
Okay. So here's the goal. This is how we're going to tie this to everything. Okay. Goal, be an author. All right. Which means create a book. Now, notice I didn't say write a book. I said create a book. So what's one of the things that we have to do to achieve a goal? We want to clearly define the goal. Be an author, create a book. Then what we want to do is we put a deadline on it. We put a deadline on it. A deadline is a date. I will have the book done on this date. Then what we want to do is apply social pressure. So we tell people, I'm going to have it done by this date. If possible, you also want to join in a community of people that are doing it too, because then not only will you feel social pressure, you will also feel support. And then finally, you want to have some financial interest, some skin in the game, which means you invest in something. So now, when you've got that, you're setting yourself up for success. What did we say was the number one thing that you need to do, though, to sustain yourself towards the achievement of the goal? Starts with W and ends with high. Why? So the first step is to define why you want to do it. And it's one of those things that writing a book, creating a book, being an author is high on everybody's list. Especially at the end of the year. It's just, oh, someday I'll write a book. Someday I'll give a speech. Someday I'll lose weight. Someday I'll be nice to my spouse. Someday I'll raise a kid that's not a raving lunatic. Someday I'll train my dog how to fetch. Why do you want to be a book? Why do you want to be a book author? Why do you want to be a book? So everybody would read me. Why? And tie it to as many things as you can. Personal, business, financial, ego, all these things. Tie it to all those different, why do I want to be a book? Well, because I'll feel pretty good about myself if I'm the author of a book. Business wise, having a book will differentiate me from all the other chuckleheads. That was the other thing I was trying to do this. I was 20, 26, 27, 28, 29 years old, however old I was. And I was going up against people that had 20, 30 years in the business. I was just trying to find any way I could differentiate myself from other people in business, give myself a tool, give myself an edge. Financially, hey, the money don't suck. 1990, people, 10 people a day, 1996, 10 people a day hands you $30 for something that costs you $2 to make. Um, I'd do that every day. Tried to. Um, especially if it's cash. But, the big thing with a book, you make money with a book and you make money because of a book. I was making money with it by selling it, but I was also making money because of it because I had it and I was using it to get other business. And then ego, you know, look at me. Look at your bio. Whose bio is going to look better? The bio that has you as an author or the bio that doesn't have you as an author? People are reading your bio versus some other chucklehead. They got a book and you don't. Who's getting hired? Or you do and they don't. Who's getting hired?
Yeah,
So,
know what else is cool about that one too, Jim? Nowadays is that
what's
you
that?
can say just go to Amazon. You can get it on Amazon.
That's right.
That's
Absolutely.
big.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. But the biggest reason, the first step, so our Mark Twain, the first step to becoming an author is to get a strong enough why to become an author. That is your first step. And in fact, once you get a strong enough why, now with AI tools and other things like that, that why, and if you're willing to just show up and do some stuff and work towards a deadline over a couple of weeks, and you're willing to put in about 90 minutes a day on average, if you're willing to do that, 2 weeks is going to be here 2 weeks from whether you do it or not. But how would you like to show up on a Monday and 2 weeks later be a published author on Amazon? And that's
Hell
not a
yeah.
pipe. Yeah, that's not a pipe dream either. We've helped hundreds of people to do it using AI tools.
That's awesome. So you mentioned something a little bit about the bio,
Uh huh.
right? Like a biography as an author or a biography not as an author,
Yeah,
right? Um let's maybe ask the question, is there a genie for that?
absolutely. There's a genie for that. And I want you to think about how often now do we have to share our bio with people, whether it's on social media, you might be being introduced on a podcast, or whether it's a virtual stage or a live stage. You got to do a little tiny bio, a one sentence bio for to go with an article, or
Mm-hmm.
you got some media or something like that. Think about the credibility that being an author gives you. And I'd like to show you, let's do a quick demo using one of the AI genies that just shows the difference, and you can feel the difference. It's a before and after. So this is the about me one sentence bio genie. So I've got this filled out, and we'll do before and after. This is without me being an author, which, funny now, after almost 30 years of doing this, my identity is tied up in that. So, name Jim Edwards, relevant credentials, copywriter, speaker, trainer. This is my basic stuff, and we're targeting people that want to leverage the power of AI to save time and all that good stuff. Okay. So we're going to have it crank out my about me bio. We'll have it do on my one sentence. This is something new, the XYZ statement genie. This is something we did the other day for LinkedIn. We'll worry about that later. But all right, so unleash the power of AI to sell more and find the freedom in your work with Jim Edwards, with a track record of selling successfully online since 2001 and writing sales letters that have grossed tens of millions of dollars. Jim Edwards is uniquely qualified to help you leverage the power of AI, save time, create amazing ads, sales letters, and emails, sell more no matter what you sell. Creator, mini site creator, funnel scripts, copy, and content.ai. Jim has the expertise and experience and expertise. Now it's time to pay attention to how Jim can help you transform your business with AI-powered copywriting. Imagine being able to effortlessly create sales letters and ads to get millions of clicks and views, all while saving time, finding freedom in your work. Okay, so that's not bad. Jim Edwards, a seasoned online seller and copywriter, has a proven track record of writing highly successful sales letters and ads, as well as creating AI software to save time and increase sales, making him uniquely qualified to help you achieve freedom in your work and maximize business potential. Okay, that doesn't sound bad.
No, it's great.
Oh, that's pretty good. Okay. Um, so let's see what it looks like with books. Okay. So same bio. All I did was just add, which all of this is real, international best-selling author and Amazon bestseller. Selling online since, and then author of international bestseller, Copywriting Secrets and 7-Day Ebook. Everything else is the same. All
Okay.
right. So only a couple extra lines, but then let's see how this sounds. And you be the judge. I mean, which of them sounds like holy crap? Um, Unleash the power of AI to sell more and find freedom in your work. Jim Elmer is uniquely qualified to help authors, coaches, speakers, and entrepreneurial professionals achieve their goals. With over 20 years of experience selling successfully online, writing dozens of best-selling books and sales letters that have grossed millions, created powerful content, ad content that's garnered millions of clicks and views. Jim has the expertise to guide you to leveraging the power of AI to save time, create amazing ads, sales letters, emails. Jim's innovative software tools, including mini site creator, phone scripts, copy, and content.ai, along with his international best-selling books, Copywriting Secrets and 7-Day Ebook, have already helped countless professionals supercharge their sales and find freedom in their work. Now is the time to pay attention to Jim Edwards and discover how his expertise and tools can help you take your business to the next level. Join Jim on social media. If you want to leverage the power of blah, 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 Jim Edwards is uniquely qualified, written best-selling books, sales letters, AI software. So
What's the XYZ? What does that mean?
we did a training the other day with a LinkedIn expert, and he said that one of the things that you need to do is have an XYZ statement. I help X do Y so they can Z.
Ah,
So I help authors, coaches, speakers, entrepreneurs, professionals leverage the power of AI to save time and create amazing ads, sales letters, and emails so they can sell more no matter what they sell. Because I've been successfully selling online since 2001, written dozens of best-selling books, and created. So this is too long. You would need
yeah,
to edit this down, but it's one of those things of it's always easier to edit. You know, it's easier to edit something than it is to just stare at a blank page.
absolutely.
So
Can't edit a blank page.
exactly. So you know, to me, if I was evaluating someone and just with this one difference in here, the fact that you've got a book, even if you weren't an international bestseller, I mean, even if it's just author, okay, author, copywriter, speaker. Let's take out the bestsellers and all that stuff. Um, and so now I'm just some schmo. I wrote this book. Well, no, and I mean it's just I've done it.
You're
Okay.
not a schmo, Jim.
But what I'm saying is, everybody's like, "Oh, I'm a bestseller."
Yeah,
You know, he's
you are
created
a
many,
business person with an author.
right,
As
and
an
the
author.
author of Copywriting Secrets and 7-Day Ebook with a track record of creating ads. So, to me, the fact that you have the book in there is critical, and we've been trained since an early age that authors have authority. In fact,
Yes.
you can't have authority without author because the first 5 or 6 letters I can't spell, but however many letters are in author, I think 6,
Yep.
start authority. So that's the key. Jim Edwards, an author, sales letter writer, and creator of AI software, successfully sold since 2001. It's the next step to get you where you want to go. And if you are not an author, you are not, if you're not an author, you're missing the key ingredient to differentiate yourself from your competitors. And seeing it there in the bio, which of those bios is better, the one with it or the one without it? Obviously the one with it reads better, sounds better, and has more credibility in an instant than without it.
Yes, I would agree. So, what do you think? Being an author does to someone's self-perception, but also the professional life.
So I think one of the big things to do, but there's a trap that you got to avoid, is if you believe that what you've created is important, then you will see yourself differently. Now, that doesn't mean, it's like my dad used to say, don't start believing your own press releases. But what it does mean is that you can look at this and go, you know what? I, I did that. I created something that shows people how to get a result, and it's a valuable intellectual asset that I can leverage in my business. And I did something. So when you're having imposter syndrome, or you're feeling crappy, or you're having some competitive problems with somebody, it's a fancy way of saying some asshats maybe driving you nuts on the internet, or if you get some chucklehead in the help desk telling you that you're a dork, you can look at this and feel good about yourself. The other thing it does, though, is it really forces you to focus your thoughts long enough to come up with something that will make you better. We talked about evolution earlier. This creating a book helps you to evolve. It crystallizes your thinking. It gives you something that you can use as a way to build a relationship with people by remote control. It gives you a textbook you can use to teach courses. It just does so much for you personally and professionally. And
You,
plus, it'll make your mom happy.
yeah, you know something I also noticed about writing a book is that when I'm writing it, I get so many other ideas for future books.
Yes.
It's like you won't stop at one.
Right. Future books, future articles. The neat thing is with tools and things like that, like as an example of this book right here, 10 Dirty Little Secrets, um, each chapter could turn into an article or a blog post and or a video and or a short and or a listicle and or a meme that could
Course.
lead to the book. That's the thing. It's like the seed of your marketing is contained in the book.
Yeah. And your coaching
Um,
course.
and coaching and everything else. Yeah, absolutely. It's just becomes this nifty little power center of amazingness. Um, and this is interesting. Brad says, getting my strong enough why has been my downfall every time so far. I'm looking forward to things being different this time, and I still need to find that strong why to help pull me forward towards success at this time. I think one thing we'll just hit this real quick, Stu. We're talking about the why. One of the things with a strong enough why is in sales, and a lot of times when we're doing these things, I always like to think of it as we're selling ourselves on a course of action or a thought process. But in sales, they have something called tie downs, where you tie someone down with specific points. So a lot of times it's like, oh, it's always been my dream. Okay, yay. Okay, so it's always been a dream. This is a personal dream. Cool. Also, in business, this is going to give me a valuable asset that maybe I can even position at the beginning of a funnel. I don't have a funnel. I got to be able to create an asset that I can build an offer around. Okay, cool. Now, financially, I'm going to be able to sell this thing. And with this offer, I'm going to be able to build a list. And also, if anybody takes advantage of my coaching as a result of this, every time that happens, I'm going to make the big bucks. And then I'm finally going to be able to look at myself and know that I can finish stuff. So now we come up with a why statement that you can use at the beginning of every day while you're engaged in the process. Okay. Why? Why am I doing this? I'm doing this because it's always been my dream to be an author. In business, this is going to help me with an asset that I'm going to be able to create an offer around, which means I'm going to be able to build a list and sell my coaching for big bucks. And I'm going to finally prove to myself that I can finish stuff. Now, again, as a mantra, as doing it over and over and over, reminding yourself before you get started every time, great. Turn that into a picture. See yourself holding the book done. See yourself with that offer, with that funnel. See yourself with people calling you, with people getting on Zooms with you. Make it big, make it bright. See yourself finishing it and people congratulating you, thanking you. Now, all of a sudden, we've built that big why, and we've made it real, we've made it personal, and we've internalized it, which, remember, I told you at the beginning, the most powerful whys have to be internal,
Yes.
not external. So that's what you need to do.
All right. So
It's like, whatever, dude.
we've discovered through this
Uh-huh.
show like what being an author means to you both personally and professionally, and how it
Mm-hmm.
can be a transformative experience in both sides of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think some of the fears and obstacles are with uh, holding people back from writing?
So I think some of the fears and obstacles, anything to do with life, people, humans, adults, which is a relative term.
Mm,
Okay. Um,
grown-ups.
comes down to knowledge, comes to grown up. Yeah, right. Knowledge, skill, resources, and support. Those are the four main areas that everything falls into. Okay. So what are the things that hold people back? I don't know what to do. Great. There's always someone who's got a recipe. We got the recipes. That's what the genies are. I mean, the rest, it's like AI and a recipe in my mind had a three-way dumpster baby. And that's why we're able to get you amazing results. Okay. So the knowledge, there's somebody's got the recipe out there. My buddy Bart Miller, who's brilliant in what he does, he's like, I always look for the person with the recipe. He's like, he doesn't want to discover anything on his own. He's like, okay, I want to get this result. Let me go find the person with the recipe. Me, I want to go sit in the corner and figure it out on my own. All right. I've been that way since I was a little kid. Okay. Skill. I don't know what to do. Now that we're okay, well, even when I learn what to do, can I do it? That's like and these are the things that they won't, as we're little kids, I don't know what to do. But like when you're an adult, oh, that's when ego and all that other stuff. And it's shameful to admit that you don't know what to do. And so they're worried, I won't know what to do. All right, great. So I can tell you exactly what to do. I can show you exactly how to do it. I can actually give you tools to do it for you. So then it's like, oh, well, resources. And resources basically come down to two things, Stu. What do you think they come down to?
Mm, time and equipment.
Time and money.
Oh,
Okay. Now, because equipment is a function of money.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a function of time learning how to use the equipment. So the one other one that it's some sort of social connections or social thing, which basically is someone saying, I don't have a list. So even if I learn all this other stuff, I don't have a list to send out that my book is done. So yeah, it's easy for you, Jim, because you popped out your mom's womb holding a memory stick with a CSV file with 1,000,000 email addresses on it. And then the last thing is support, which support is I'm going to get stuck. The fear is I'm going to get stuck and there won't be anybody to help me. I'm going to be halfway through the jungle in the Jeep and the Jeep's going to break down and the sat phone's not going to work. And I'm going to be sitting there and I'm going to starve to death. And they're going to discover me in Indiana Jones movie 7 as a skeleton sitting behind the thing wearing a pair of Joe Biden's Ray-Bans. That's ultimately what it is. It's support. I'm going to be alone and I'm going to get stuck. No, dude, this is real. I'm going to be
I get it.
alone and I'm going to get stuck.
But the beautiful thing about support, Jim, is there's an easy button for that, right? What happens is when you are seeking support, and the support that you offer with all the future authors, we've been there, we've done that. Here's how you fix it.
Sure. I mean, I'll tell you right now, all this stuff in writeyourbbook.ai, we address every single bit of this. Every single bit of this, okay? I tell you exactly what to do. I give you the tools to basically do it for you. If you can read, you can do this. Okay. And then the resources, as far as the time, the money, all that other stuff, it's all baked into the entire process. Literally, if you can show up and have a strong reason why you're doing this and know who you're trying to serve and the purpose for your book, then you fill out forms, you whack buttons, it gives you cool output, you edit it, and then I show you how to turn it into a book and publish it on Amazon. Okay. Support. We have coaches to help you through this live. Okay. I'm teaching you live. We've got live coaches. We've got a community, all of it. It's all there. Okay. All that stuff. So any reason, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, well, AI content, that's generic. Someone will criticize me. And this is probably the biggest one at the end, the fear of being criticized. And you know what? I get criticized all the time. People talk smack about me all the time. So what? The interesting thing is you can look at the books that we publish on Amazon and you'll see one that's a 5-star review. Hey, this is great. And then you'll see one that's like a 3-star review that'll say, oh, it was okay, but it just wasn't up to Jim's standards on this other books that I've read of his. And this one is one that sticks out to me. Okay. I was looking at some of the reviews and stuff, and somebody's like, it was obviously written with AI. I'm like, no, it wasn't. Whatever. Everybody's allowed to have their opinion. The point is, though, that this is the ultimate one, that even if you defeat all these others, this fear of criticism is the one that will finally be the one that stops people. Because they're scared of being judged. And I have struggled with this my whole life, fear of being judged by others. And all I can tell you is that the fear you have in this area really is false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
That's what fear is, because for every person that will criticize you, I'm telling you, in the help desk especially, when you get criticism within a really short period of time, somebody else is going to write in and give you an attaboy, attagirl. And the funny thing is, though, when you get an attaboy or an attagirl, you also got to know that there's going to be the crap letter coming too. It's just how the world works. And in the end, you can't judge me personally. You can just judge this thing. And it's just a thing. And your opinion is what it is. Like, if I had never read that review where they said that, would I have an attitude about it? No, because it's just, they actually wrote that a month and a half ago. So I'm reacting to something that happened a month and a half ago in the present as if it was real. And it's not real. None of this is real.
Right.
It's like John Lennon said at the end of one of his music videos, there's a sign in his front door that says, "You are not here." And my point is that if you're afraid of people criticizing you at the end of this whole process, then let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. You going to sing the Frozen song now, Stu? I'd pay good money to hear that.
That would be good if I knew the words.
Okay.
I will say this. People are going to criticize you whether or not you write a book or not.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah. Love me, hate me. There's no money in the middle.
Yeah.
And when you write a book the way we teach you how to write a book, you're writing it for a specific person, a specific avatar, a specific ideal customer. And the people who would criticize it are unless you totally blow the process and put pictures of yourself holding a severed head of a squirrel you ran over on the highway, it's like, you're not my customer, because the spirit of help, the spirit of just help that I'm trying to give to the people that I'm called to serve will convey. And if they don't like it, then they're not your ideal customer. So who cares?
Yeah.
They're an asshat.
Yeah. And you got to deal with them. And realize this too. Feedback is feedback. There's no negative feedback, there's no positive feedback. Just take it as feedback, and if it's something you need to act on, then it is. If it's something you need to ignore it.
And there's a seed of there's a seed of helpfulness in everything.
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes I will get a negative feedback and I'm like, you know what? You're right. I could have done that better.
Yeah.
Let me go back and explain that better and just, and republish the ebook.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay.
So where are we now, Jim? Are we in the summary of like some key takeaways?
Oh,
Or do you want to do a
okay.
motivational segment on encouraging others to start writing?
I don't know, Stu. As the podcast producer and the interviewer, what do you think we should do in the next 5 minutes?
Well, I will tell you this. You have been pretty motivational in my book. So unless you have something you want to show people, like here's a 1-minute motivational segment that you can use to, help your avatar.
Well, I would say that if you're on the fence about writing a book, if you're on the fence about doing anything to help your ideal customer, I need you to think about this. If you are truly going to have the impact that you want to have on the world, if you are truly going to make a difference, if you're going to build a business, if you're going to create a funnel, if you're going to do all the things that you say you want to do, the one thing that will help you do it faster than anything else you could do would be to create a book, because then the book proves to you and others that you are an authority. It also becomes the basis for speaking, training, coaching, courses, content. It becomes a list builder. It does all the things that you want to do in a digital authority-based business that we all, if you're listening to this, pretty much want to build. And most of all, it will prove to you that you can do something significant and you have an asset that separates you, differentiates you from all of your competitors. And in the darkest moments, when you're doubting yourself, you can look at that book on your shelf and say, you know what? I'm beautiful, I'm smart, and people love me.
There you go. Doggone it. People love me.
People like me. There you go. So what are the big summaries? Is that what you want to know? Now, what's the big summary?
Yeah. What's our takeaways here?
Okay. Author equals authority. That is the biggest thing I would just tell you. Being an author makes you an authority. Being an author makes you an authority, and you can do all that stuff that goes along with it. If you're scared, if you have fear about that, just look on Amazon. You'll see a couple million chuckleheads have done it. You can do it.
Yes.
It's never been easier. It's never been faster. And it's never been more important than it is now. And even if you never sold a book on Amazon, but you had that book and used it as a business card to hand out to people who could potentially do business with you, then you will have done exactly what I did with my first 2 books. They didn't get published anywhere, but I used them as a business card to get a whole lot of business that made me a whole lot of money, and it gave me the credibility and the momentum and the experience to now be where I am today. Because if I hadn't been literally going door to door to real estate offices trying to sell this program with the accompanying cassette tape, I wouldn't be standing here today. I'd probably be some county webmaster somewhere, honest to God. Okay, for real. So doing it, getting in the arena, getting your hands dirty, And then coming out the other end with a book in your hands is very likely going to be the next step in your evolution to a whole new level. You like how I brought that evolution back into it?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Because it is needed, especially in the goal building, habit building process.
Absolutely. So, if you're not signed up for our next Write Your Book Challenge, you can go to writeyourbook.ai and sign up right now. We're kicking off new year, new you, be an author, no faster, easier, and more credible way to do it than this process and these tools that we have put together for you. Hundreds of people before you have done it in the last year, become published authors in 2 weeks on Amazon. You're next.
Love it.
There you go. That's all I got. That's all I have to say, Forrest.
Well, we'll say see you later then, unless you want to take a question or something from anybody.
I think we're going to have to roll.
Okay.
But I will just say for those of you that those of you who are here with us live, we're taking next week off. So we will see you next year. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Hanukkah's over, Happy Kwanzaa, Merry Festivus, whatever you call it, whatever you're doing, do it upright. And we will see you in the new year. Nice work, everybody.